Hey guys, good afternoon. This is Eric from the Auto Venture, and today I am heading to the local Manheim auction here in Daytona Beach, Florida. And I want to make a video and show you guys a little bit of the behind the scenes for car dealers, what it's like to go to the auction. I think there's a little bit of a discrepancy between what people think dealers do and kind of the reality of how we purchase cars. I've been doing this since 2013, and it seems like it has consistently gotten more difficult to purchase good cars at decent prices. I don't know whether it is more dealers coming into the market where they have their license and they simply just don't know what they're doing, or if they have buyers for these vehicles already. I'm trying to think of potential scenarios of how or why it would make sense for some of these dealers to pay as much as they are for these vehicles. And those are a couple of them, where if I know I have a buyer for something that's, $20,000 or whatever it is, and if I can bid up to, 18 something on the car, pay the auction fees, and get out of there under $19,000, I have a little bit of room to make some money, and then also in case there's something that needs done to it. But what the retail buyer doesn't understand is that if that car needs tires, or if it needs brakes or rotors or whatever, and we're not taking into consideration just the basic things, you need to do an oil change, you need to check the fluids, you need to do all these other things. It could have a broken window regulator, it could have a sunroof that isn't functioning properly, it could have a million different things that are potentially wrong with it. But I'm going to show you around a few vehicles and how I look at them at the auction and how I determine what I think they're worth. And sometimes it's as simple as, while I'm standing there right before the vehicle runs through the lane, I'll look on Facebook Marketplace, or I have an app on my phone that I can look up NADA value or Kelley Blue Book value and see what some of these vehicles are selling for. Times like now, in right before tax season for car dealers, this is almost as high as prices will be at the auction for the entire year. The last month or so leading up to now, and then right now is almost the peak. So it's not a great time to be shopping at the auction, but car dealers need cars. I was naive at the very beginning when I first started, thinking, oh man, if it's a really cold day out at the auction, or if it's raining or bad weather, that I may get a better deal. But the reality of the situation is dealers have to buy cars, rain, shine, hot, cold, doesn't matter what it is. So not too often do you get a great deal just because of the weather. So yeah, I'm on my way to Manheim, Daytona Beach. I will take some video inside. I'll show you a couple of vehicles that I'm looking at to purchase, and then also what they ultimately sell for. And I think that you will be surprised at the prices that they should sell for. It's called the Manheim Market Report. It gives you the average price of what that vehicle should sell for versus what they actually get for it this time of year at the auction. So next up, we'll see you at the auction. All right, so here is the less fun side of being a car dealer, where it's 54 degrees and currently raining out, and I'm out here about to go look at some cars. So this should be super fun. All right, so the first thing you see as you're walking in is this giant thing. I don't know what that is. $595, $85, $20s. I don't think anyone really needs that. But here's what they look like. This is a relatively small auction. This one has just under 1,000 cars that are running today. You can see the lanes over here. Looks like they're running 6 lanes. So any of these vehicles that have have the hoods up typically have dead batteries. But to give you an idea of how to read these stickers, the top one here tells you who is running the car usually, but you can see like that's open, it's raining. This is sometimes the condition, but this is lane 6. This is the 6th car running. It tells you the date that it's running. 2007 with 78,000 miles on it. So I can scan this car with my phone and it'll show me what the average selling price of that vehicle is based upon condition and condition, location of where it's selling, miles. There's a bunch of different things that you can filter the run list by. I'm looking for just a handful today. Let's see, I have a book open here. There's just a few that I'm looking at. 6, 7 cars. So I'm going to check those out and I'll show you what I'm looking for here. There's also some cool stuff that you can see at the auction. Here's a 1979. Somebody's going to want some money for this. Real deal Warlock, 51,000 original miles. Pretty cool. So the cars go in order. There's 35, this should be 37, there's 39, 41. I'm looking for 42. The next one I have is 47. This is a 2008 Chevy Impala LS. You can see it's hanging there for some reason. You can look at the tires. These just have hubcaps, steel wheels underneath. It's a little bit harder in the rain to be able to see what's going on. You can see some scratches here. It's a 2008 with 109,000 miles. Some front tires. Really interesting part is usually inside. It's pretty dirty down here on the floor. Just dirty in general. It smells like an animal of some description. Or filthy kids, not sure. Let's see how it sounds. There's a scratch, trunk's faded. This is what you get at the auction. This is how they all start out. One of the first things I do whenever I walk up to a car, do a little all the way around. You can hear it start up. And then you get to see whatever lights are on. Check that one went down. Back up, more importantly. These went down. No sunroof. You can see the cracked windshield. That vent's completely blown out. Next is check the radio. You can see this radio doesn't work. So here's a problem. Turn on the EDC, let's pull it out. Oh, this car smells. You can feel a little hesitation in the motor whenever you turn that AC on. And you go to heat. See if the heat works, but you can feel a miss. You can't tell in the video, but there's a hesitation in the motor. mostly, you can't feel it on the heat as much. Turn the AC on though. You can almost see the camera shake a little bit. So this isn't something that I'd be interested in. It could be just something stupid like you know, plugs or wires or something, but this car, it doesn't need a lot of work, but it's just, these cheap cars are really hard to feel good about buying. And I haven't even shifted it into forward reverse. I should do that just for fun. Let's see. This is where you can really tell. So it starts back up. Make sure it doesn't clunk. Neutral, reverse, forward, back into reverse. Seems to shift okay. Sometimes you can drive them before the auction, sometimes you can't. So here's the first one. We'll see what this does. Alright, so this one just got back. This is a 2007. It's some more miles. 147. Tires. Same thing. The hubcaps. Scratched on the side. Same car, more miles, no roof. This one doesn't have the split dashboard. This one still has a dog, it looks like, in the back seat. Let's see what it sounds like whenever you start it up. Alright. Car's on. Let's see if we can get the radio to a station we know is an actual station. When it's on a station that isn't playing, there we go. Don't want to play that too long. Alright, so reverse, forward, neutral, reverse again. Seems alright. Windows, both windows, all four windows work. No lights on this car, actually. You want to be looking to see if there's any giant puffs of smoke or anything that are coming out from behind the back of the car. Turn on the AC. Heat's on. It's working. Turn on the actual AC. Make sure it blows cold. It's going to be hard to tell on a day like this. The other thing you can check to see if people are keeping up with the vehicle was right here. So as it tells you, it's from Jacksonville, Florida, and surprisingly, they're not behind on the oil change, which is good. That means that somebody took at least reasonable care of this car. This is something that I may actually be interested in, so I'm going to pop it right here. So this is actually one I'm fairly interested in. Looks like the outside of these tires. So this is something I could probably buy. You can see this rear has some dirt in it. Probably was replaced at some point. It has some scratches on the rear trunk. This is the second time I've gone around the car. These I don't think these are going to come out. They might actually. It doesn't seem like it's too deep. That dent here, they don't do anything with that. This is a good tax season car. You can buy this for, you know, hopefully under $2,000, and you could flip it pretty quick or put somebody on payments. You know, take $1,000 down. but seems pretty decent. I'm gonna go drive it real quick, make sure it shifts, as much as I can here for the auction. And then this might be something I end up buying. Alright, so you can't drive too fast in the auction here. You can really, I think the speed limit's 5 or 10 miles per hour or something. We try to get it to shift from first to second, which it just did. That's not a fail-proof plan by any means, but at least it shifts out of first. The other thing you really want to check for whenever you're looking at a vehicle like this is make sure the temperature stays right in the middle. You don't want it to be getting hot on you. So you can see this one's right in the middle. We're gonna get it back to the spot here, and this is one I'm probably gonna bid on. I'll show you the MMR on it here in just a second, and you'll be able to see what this vehicle should sell for, and then during tax season, what a vehicle like this actually sells for. I think you'll be really surprised. Let me pull this up real quick on my phone. Alright, so this is a 2007 Chevy Impala V6 4-door LS. So the base MMR is 1,300 with 167,000 miles on it. The adjusted MMR is 1,550. So I think this car is going to do a lot closer to $2,000. I think it'll do at least 1,800. Which you can see even on a very inexpensive car like this, that's a huge percentage-wise amount over what the adjusted MMR is. I think it might even do 2,500. It really depends on the seller. But you can see this, and then I'll show you here in a few minutes when it runs through what the actual selling price was. This takes into consideration also it's a one owner, one accident. It doesn't show you where the accident was. If I was guessing just based upon that rear fender, I would say it was there. Let me take a closer look and see if there's any other kind of signs. It's really hard to see, but it looks like that rear bumper doesn't match. Makes the body. It's not terrible, but a lot of bumpers don't match in general. But I would say this was definitely hit in the back. Which if you're going to hit something, I would say that's where you want it to be. The vehicle also, here's something to pick up. So again, you want to really watch out for the rust underneath it. Yes, not all Florida cars are from Florida. So Alright, here's another LR4. Just had one of these I bought last week. It got a new timing chain. Let's see what this one sounds like. This is a year newer. Similar miles to the other one. Let's see what this one sounds like though. They all have check engine lights. Every single one of them, it seems like. This one has 11 miles till empty. Coolant levels low. None of that sounds good to me. I want to get under the hood, see what this thing sounds like. But it's a nice car. I mean, it's really nice inside. 7-passenger. It's got the sunroof. Let's see. Pop the first one. sounds relatively smooth. Sounds a little louder now. It probably needs a time change. So here's another one I was looking at that I'm not interested in. It's a Subaru Tribeca, so it's actually really nice, and it's a shame. But I was talking to another dealer, and sometimes they give me a story of what they come in at to try to buy it cheaper. So it'll be interesting to see. I'll keep an eye on it just to see what happens. But the car runs fine. It sounds good. Tires are good. Interiors are in shape. There's just a couple kind of signs that something may be up. It has 154,000 miles on it, but I mean, really nice inside. Has one little issue there that's minor, but interior's super clean. Has a third row. This would be a perfect car to send up north. But here's where it gets a little bit weird. See anything that doesn't belong here? This way.
Green, yellow, except on the mouse. 13. 13, 13. 13, talk brand, left brand, levity, left brand, levity, left brand, levity, left brand, levity, Take brand, 92, 94, 96, 98, take brand, 10, 4, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 8, left brand, 11, 4, 6, 6, watch on, talk to, all done, I have 2, 3, 2, 3,
So here's something that everybody loves. A Wrangler 2013 with 56,000 miles. Has some paint chipping around the windows here. Somebody had some big tires on this, I would assume. It's a sport. These are aftermarket tires. Not aftermarket, but this isn't what would have come on this vehicle. These are set that somebody bought afterwards. That's not where the drag belongs. This top's pretty beat up. Let's see, the zippers are kind of messed up, so you got to take that into consideration for what you're buying here. These fenders are actually not just cut, so that's good. I'll check engine light. It's a 6-speed, which isn't my favorite. It's in 4-wheel drive. I'm gonna make sure it goes out of 4-wheel drive. Brakes on. Cracked windshield. It does have power, which is nice. There's no carpet, which is also not too bad, but has some kind of tires are pretty great. So I think looks kind of ridiculous, but it's there. Let's say somebody had some 33s or 35s or something like this, and then took them off before they traded it in somewhere. It's gas, I think it's okay. I don't think it's like a compression tube. Here. See if you can see. This is something you could put in. I want to say this is in the $8,000 range. This windshield needs replaced. So to get this Jeep right, you're going to need a set of tires. You're going to need a new top, most likely. This needs cleaned up. You gotta figure out what that check engine light is, and it needs a little bit of detail. But this is something to take a look at. Alright, so I'm just walking out of the auction here. I didn't get anything. I didn't even actually bid on anything. I stood in the lane to kind of see what things were doing, but the prices are just so high. I mean, I looked at the one that the adjusted MMR was $1,550 and sold for $2,000, which actually was one of the better deals. But you could see that that truck, I told you, I thought it would do $10,000, which would have been almost $3,000 more than what it's technically worth on paper. Did $2,000 above that. So you're talking $4,500 at least more than what it's worth. I mean, just makes absolutely no sense to me. I have no idea what these guys are selling these cars for, that they can get it. And again, you know, that truck had eyeballs. You know, it's like you could see people being drawn to the car lot just because of that truck. But I mean, man, that is a lot of money that I'm just not worth. I don't think it's worth risking. So I'm leaving now. I have one more Jeep that I'm gonna watch on my phone on the car ride home, and I can bid on that if I'd like. It'll probably do, you know, crazy money too, but figured it was worth a shot. And I gotta head to my kids' sports tonight, so figured I would head to the auction, give you guys kind of the real deal on what's going on. All right, so I'm back in the car, just leaving the auction here. It was a pretty quick day. It's, you know, freezing cold for Florida out there, so it's just not a fun environment to be rained on and pay too much for cars. Isn't my idea of fun. So that's it, but that's the reality of the car business. You know, you can predict it in advance what the prices are going to be. Just it's a big cycle, and you know, the guys that really succeed in these businesses are already stocked up. If anything, they're selling off some of their, you know, real junk that they got into, you know, late summer, early fall, that they bought and just kind of held on to, that they'll run it through the auction and make more on it now, which is kind of crazy. So you know, that's kind of it for today, but I wanted to show you the behind the scenes of what it's like to go to the auction, and you know, what I personally look at when I'm buying cars. I mean, that was pretty quick. If I was really interested in something that I was buying 100% and I was willing to kind of pay up for, I would have really kind of climbed underneath it, made sure that there, you know, wasn't any damage, wasn't any drips, leaks. You know, on the less expensive cars, the $1,500 or whatever cars, you know, I do the best I can to get as much information or try to see as many things before I bid on it. But there's not as much risk. If you're getting into a, you know, $10, $15, $20, $30,000 car, you're definitely going to take your time a lot more. But with those basic, you know, inexpensive vehicles, it's check engine lights, which you're pretty familiar with. air conditioning, radio, sunroof, windows. Is there any noises? Forward, reverse. All the gears are there. But besides that, you don't have much time to really check them out. And if a dealer says that, oh yeah, we have it, we know exactly all the history, whatever, they're going off of potentially a Carfax and that much information from the auction. They'll do, maybe an inspection after they purchase it, but they already, what it already is. It's not like they bought it because it was a great car or whatever. They can't tell that by walking around it. And I would say that I do more than most large buyers would to buy the same vehicle. So that's it for today, guys. Hopefully this was entertaining as far as you can see the behind the scenes of the auction. But do me a favor and please hit that subscribe button. We've kind of plateaued a little bit again here. We're stuck at like 50 some subscribers, and I really want to try to hit 100 in the next couple weeks. So do me a favor, like this, comment, share, subscribe. I really do appreciate it, and have a great day.